Hey, great girlfriends, we're inviting you to join us for the 2019 Doers and Disruptors Conference, June 13th through the 15th in New York City. This 3-day event includes exciting receptions, life-changing panels, incredible mastermind groups, connections, and more. This year, we had over 100 great girlfriends from around the world connect with like-minded women and create incredible memories. Now, it's your turn to be a part of this exclusive event. Visit our website, www.thegreatgirlfriendsconference.com, to grab an early bird ticket for yourself and your greatest girlfriend. We cannot wait to see you there.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between.
We're your hosts, Brandis Daniel.
And I'm Sybil Amudi.
And thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We're so excited, guys, because we have so much going on this week, and things are moving really, really well with the Great Girlfriends.
Yes.
And we got some big things happening.
And we've got so many followers on social media, so thank you.
What? Got us shaking in our boots.
And you guys are like sharing it with your great girlfriends, which is amazing.
Yes, thank you so much. So Brandis, what's going on with you today, girl?
Oh, this week has been a week. That's all I can say.
Yes.
It's been an incredible week. So what I've been doing is like front loading my week. And what happens, though, is on Friday, I want to crash.
No, that's not what happens on Friday. What happens on Friday is I get all of the residual emotional baggage of the week that other people didn't take on.
It's so true. I save up all my pregnancy emotions for Sybil so that when we record this podcast, she get all of my grouchiness and grumpiness. And yeah.
But you know what? I love it. It's you. Yeah, it's what makes you you.
It is what it is.
Well, I had a really good morning. This morning I went to go get my hair done out in Union, New Jersey. And for those of you girlfriends that are like me, I'm a mom of 2 small kids, and I kept my hair tracked, cornrowed down, laced with weave for like 2 years because I really did not want to attend to it. Yeah. And so I just finally, took the weave out this summer, and it really grew quite a bit. So I have a girl who's maintaining it, and it's natural.
And it's so cute.
Thank you. I've got this like 8th grade bang going on though. Like I feel like a middle school child with my bangs some days. And then I become like a natural hair don't care girl. I understand it now. Yeah. Like I used to judge. I don't judge anymore. I get it.
It's cute. It's very cute.
I get it. Well, guys, we just want to thank you really quickly for a lot of the feedback that we've been getting on social and conversations that we've been having with friends about how excited you are about the podcast and learning a lot about what we know about life and,
we only giving you guys what we know.
Yep.
By the way, we should give a disclaimer. Like, we are not experts.
You know what? I'm an expert at being a woman, though.
I'm an expert at being Brandis.
I'm an expert at Sybil. I'm a grown Sybil, right?
So we should probably have given you guys that.
No, we have not gone to college to be girlfriends. We're expert girlfriends, and that's what qualifies us to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
But if you ever need professional help, by all means,
please don't
seek it.
Don't go. Well, we are not your therapist. We love you, but we are not therapists.
Yeah, we're what's called wise counsel. That's what I would call us, wise counsel. So, but thank you so much, and keep those Twitter questions and emails coming, and the Facebook conversations, social. Keep all that coming. And I want to dive right in.
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right.
This is Sybil's topic, guys.
This is my topic, and as we go deeper into this topic, you'll understand, and it'll probably help to put into context some of the other podcasts we've been talking about over the past few months and so forth. But today's topic is shrinking. And, I personally chose shrinking because, I personally have played it small for quite some time. And I'm guilty. So I will raise my hand first and say I'm guilty. But I feel like it's a big conversation for us to have because I think sometimes women, we feel like we get overlooked or we don't get top consideration for jobs, or why aren't we getting the husband, or how are we missing it?
Right.
And it's most of the time because we're playing small.
But sometimes shrinking for me, shrinking is even sometimes with other women.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had which I'll get into later, but I had a scenario that happened to me recently, which, I'm gonna, as always, girlfriends, be completely honest with you about. And it was really tough. I mean, sometimes it's tough because when you're in a room and you feel like everybody else has more and they're more this and more that and more this, and that's kind of your perception. And when you walk in the room, you're like, shoot, am I enough?
Yeah. No, it's something that we do. It's something that we do, and it's subconscious, and we got to deal with it now, today, in this podcast. So what we want to first of all give you is what we define as shrinking or playing small. And I mean, just to put it very bluntly, we say it's that part in each of us that's focused on short-term temporary comfort, or feeling secure with where we are and being validated by whatever it is that we have in our hand. Yeah. Right? Instead of going after things that we know we deserve. Right?
Absolutely. And I would even say, playing small, and we usually dismiss what we truly want in life to kind of maintain a present moment of security, acceptance, or control. And I mean, even playing small in some instances, again, where we just feel inferior to the people who are in the room. Yeah, no, it's true. And you think it's fair to say women have more opportunities these days than we've ever seen. We have a woman that's running for president. How big is that? You know what I mean? True. We see women in so many different arenas that we've never seen before, but many of us don't step into our identity because we won't take advantage of the resources that are available. Like, we don't feel like we qualify for that. You know? It's so funny because I was having breakfast with someone yesterday, and it was someone who I personally completely admire. Like, I think that, first of all, the woman is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And she started a business. She's a really successful entrepreneur, but she was going into a room with other people who were even more successful and who also came from like heritage backgrounds, like that whole pedigree that some Black people have. And she felt really uncomfortable about going into that room. And so we kind of had a talk about it. I kind of shared my experience I had with her, which was really helpful to her. But, I just think that we're affected by it probably on a weekly basis. Oh my God, absolutely. Yeah. I think anytime there's a new room, a new space, or better yet, there's someone else who comes into our space and they seem to have more than what we think we should have at that present time. And truth of the matter is, I feel like we reject ourselves before other people do. We do it. Half the time people aren't rejecting us. It's true. But we do, because we start focusing on our flaws and we use them as a crutch and we minimize who we are. It's so true. And we shrink. Yeah, we shrink. And it's so easy for us to just stay in our comfort zone. It's very true. And then, or wait on permission for someone else to kind of tell us who we're supposed to be and when we're supposed to be that. And I mean, as women and as entrepreneurs, as moms, as leaders, as aspirational business owners, as girlfriends, that is just poor behavior. We can't do that and then expect to see great results. Yeah. And some of us hide behind our Gucci bags. Some of us do. And hide behind our labels. That's true. And hide behind someone else's style. Yeah. And, so it's... Oh my God, stop right there, because that's such a major point right now. Because what I feel happens a lot is that some people, or many women, will use other people's social media personas as a crutch. And they use their personas to create their own. So you find people that are emulating other people's style, their identity, their hair, their looks, not taking tips, but emulating. Taking on another person's persona in an effort to live their lifestyle. You see it all the time. How many Kardashians do we have walking around? That is so true. How many Kims have you seen in Harlem? That is so true. When you first started, I was like, where's someone going with this? Think about it. You are right. Think about it. Think about it. And people spend time, like hours, going through profiles, picking friends, making selections because they want to live in someone else's identity, not really realizing the value of their own identity. That's so true. I'll even say personally, at work, there have been so many times where I was in a room and someone else would with a more dominant personality would take over a conversation, and I knew I had something valuable to contribute, but I didn't want to be placed in an intimidating place. So I would just fall back. Yeah.
And, or sometimes I just didn't feel like fighting for what I believed in. And I just fall back.
Right.
And I don't think I'm alone on that.
You're definitely not alone on that. So I'll tell you guys a story. So I recently...
Story time. Let's go.
You girlfriends, I trust you guys so much. I hope you know that. But I recently went on a trip. I was invited to go to Bermuda Fashion Festival.
Yes.
And I was invited by a really, really well-known editor. I mean, she's not just well-known in the U.S., she's well-known all over the world.
Okay.
And so I got there right after coming after Essence Festival, where I felt so much love. I mean, me and Baby Love got major love at Essence Festival.
Uh-huh.
And so I got off of that, went straight to Bermuda Fashion Festival, got there, and so met the other ladies who were there. So what they do is they actually connected mentors with some local Bermudian designers. And the mentors were absolutely incredible. I mean, their fashion pedigree was top notch. I mean, These women were working at top fashion magazines. And so some of the men, there were a couple guys too, but again, everyone was working for top fashion magazines. So when I got there and I was kind of in that space, I really didn't feel like I fit in because I don't have, I have a fashion background. I was a buyer and I worked in apparel production, but I don't have that type of fashion pedigree where I have the labels behind me and I haven't worked for YSL, I haven't worked for L.com. So I didn't have that kind of pedigree. So anyway, the weekend was going on and quite honestly, I was kind of really shrinking on my own, right? Nobody was making me shrink. I was kind of shrinking on my own. They all knew each other. That was another thing. All of them knew each other. And, none of them knew who I was. So the weekend went on and I kept feeling some kind of way, left out, not truly respected, all of these different things I was feeling.
But why were you feeling that?
It was simple. It was totally my perception.
It was internal.
It was internal.
Catch that, lady. It was all internal. Nobody was throwing stones.
It was totally internal. All of these people were lovely. I mean, everybody has their personality quirks, but some of them, it was just their personalities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are different. So I'll never forget. I came back to my room, and I can't remember what had just happened, but at this point, I'm really feeling emotional. I'm all in my feelings, all up and through my feelings. I mean, I wanted to come in a room and just cry and just go to bed and be I'm not doing anything else.
You should have packed me up to go to Bermuda.
Even though I was given this designer an opportunity to actually show on our platform, on Harlem's Fashion Row platform, I still just didn't feel like I was enough. And so, girlfriends, I called my great girlfriend, Sybil. And I was just Sybil, you have to coach me through this. I texted her a 911 text. You need to answer the phone. This is very important. And I was just I just was honest with her. I sent her this long email, and the email was very, very vulnerable. And it was just telling her I didn't feel enough in that room. I didn't feel like I qualified in that room. I felt like I was being left out. I felt like I was, not a part of what they had going on. And I had all these things. And Sybil gave me such great advice.
Aw, thank you.
You did. She's like, Brandis, this is totally internal. This is totally your perception. You cannot shrink back. You have to be Brandis. And you have to kind of almost go overboard in being Brandis so that you don't retreat. That was your word. You said don't retreat.
Don't retreat. That's right.
And so that night, right after I got off the phone with Sybil, I had to go to a fashion show where they were all going to be. And as soon as I got there, I noticed that my name, in terms of my seating, it was on the front row, but it wasn't with any of them. So, ladies, let me tell y'all. So then I was okay. I said, well, I'm not going to retreat. I'm not going to be in my feelings. But why is my seat over here, right? But come to find out, they had actually put my seats 2 places. Somebody had made a mistake. So I had 2 seats. And my other seat was on the other side. But I was thinking, what if I had immediately developed a judgment about that?
Yeah, you would have retreated.
I would have retreated. So I went over and I sat in my seat, and all of them were in the back, like dressing the models and stuff. And I said, what would regular Brandis do? Not this Brandis who feelings are hurt right now. What would regular Brandis do? And regular Brandis would get up, go backstage, see if they needed help, check on everybody, see how I can. And so that's what I did. And when I went back there, come to find out, one of the ladies was really nervous about speaking. So I would have been thinking that she was
prepared and all,
like she
bigger
was,
than life,
right? And then she was like feeling some kind of way towards me. When quite honestly, she was dealing with her own stuff.
Had nothing to do with
nothing to do with me. And then I went and I asked all of the other editors like if they needed help with anything, and all of them were very appreciative. They were all okay, but they were very. You can tell that quite honestly, that moment I felt like changed kind of the direction of the rest of my trip.
Because how many people would get up, go backstage and help? Most people wouldn't, because they think they're better than that. They would feel like, oh, this is someone else's job. But you were really willing to get your hands dirty and to show your character so people could know who you are. You didn't retreat. That's the key.
And I just kept that the entire. It changed my girlfriends. It really changed my entire weekend. So they're gonna be. And I'm telling you this story because there are going to be times where you feel like you're in a space and everybody's treating you a certain kind of way, or they're not treating you as good as they're treating other people. You have to really keep yourself from retreating and go overboard in being you. Yes. Whatever that is.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go through real quick with them. So, guys, there are symptoms to shrinking. Okay. We're going to highlight them for you because I think you want to be able to know. I mean, a lot of times we think this is for someone else. Yeah. I don't shrink. Yeah. I do me, and I live me, and I'm all about me. But we all have those moments where we pull back just a pinch because we feel like we don't qualify to take center stage. Yeah. Even with this podcast, ladies, I struggled with the idea that you would actually listen. I knew that Brandis and I like to talk to each other, but the idea that anyone would listen, like, that baffled me. Even the fact that people are supporting and saying, when's the next one, and asking us questions, and all of it coming to life. I feel I want to go tuck under the bed some days because I don't want to be accountable to the person that has to own this space. But my mission is in the middle of my heart. Your mission is carrying you. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go through real quick. If you see opportunities, but you don't take advantage of them. You don't feel like, the resources are for you. Maybe you live in a city and you make excuses for why you haven't started your business because you feel like, you have too much to do with your time, and, the small business administration does not have tools for you. Maybe you haven't done the research. Yeah. Or maybe you feel like, your kids, you don't have time because your kids and your husband, and all these things that we, make as excuses. But, so if you find yourself saying some of those things,
you're probably shrinking.
I would say so.
And some people start being like, I'm a black woman.
How many black women have we heard?
Or, I'm a woman.
Yes.
I'm not from here.
Or I'm over 30.
I'm over 40.
Girl, I got bills.
I'm only 20-something.
Girl, I tripped in 3rd grade. Girl, I fell on the playground that time. Girl, I've been hurt before.
And how they are.
Girl,
how they are.
And a good man is hard to find. Yes. I live in Atlanta.
Yes.
And that. I live in Memphis. I live in Mexico. Where is the best place to live? Everybody says something wrong with their city.
It's so
I got buck teeth. I'm overweight.
True.
So if you're saying any of those, you're making excuses or blaming your circumstances or other people. Well, my husband don't support me.
Yeah.
And I got, my sister, I got to help my mama and them. You're making excuses for why you can't pursue what you desire. You're probably
shrinking.
Or if you're telling yourself when you look in the mirror, good and well, your dream is right there looking at you.
Right there.
But then what are you saying back to it?
You're like, nah, I can do this later, or I'm good right now, or I got too much going on, or, girl, there are a million excuses.
Or why me? Why me?
Why?
I don't
qualify.
God. Why me?
Let me tell you, that was...
Your question.
Yes. Yeah. I asked that question over and over again when I first started my business. Why me? I actually picked out about 5 other people I thought were more qualified to start this business.
You know,
that's crazy.
Of course we can do that. That's rejecting you. You're rejecting yourself before anybody else even gets the chance. And it's so funny how if God wants to tell us to run and get Chick-fil-A, we believe it's God. But the minute he wants to tell us to do something that's out of our comfort zone, we start asking, is that God?
Yes.
I need confirmation. I just can't tell.
Yes.
Is that the Lord? You know what I mean?
It's so
and you
true.
start making yourself seem crazy and you start rationalizing and pushing it away.
Or finding other ideas that seem a lot more realistic.
Yes, and you do those first.
So you're like, I know I'm supposed to start this new TV show because I got a videographer.
Yes.
And I got a voice. And I can start my own TV. That's all you need nowadays.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to go do this other thing. These other people, I saw opening at the radio station. Maybe I should just go do that.
Yep.
It's just always something.
That's a major one. Or, you're supposed to start your own company and and you might, God is telling you to go start your own company and telling you to do it. And if God tells us something, we know we have the resources, but somehow we say, you know what? I'm going to go get mentored and go get a job under so-and-so and learn from them.
Or I'm going to go get certification.
Yes. I'm going to go get some kind of degree that certifies what God said.
Yes.
That's called shrinking, people. That's called shrinking. And we make excuses and say we want to make sure our credentials are up, but that's not it. We'll be right back after these messages. Great girlfriends, are you ready to design and own your life? Are you tired of watching by the sidelines as life passes you by? Many people attend conferences and become inspired but remain the same. Why is that? They lack the accountability and support they need to turn their dreams into a reality. Our resident productivity coach and project manager, Roseanne Uwagwe, is exactly what you need to help you become the doer and disruptor you dream of being. She will help you strategize, set milestones, tackle your vices, and accomplish your mission. Visit her website today at roseanneuwague.com/coaching for more information.
Hi, it's your great girlfriend, Brandis Daniel. I am so excited to announce that I am now an author. Yes, I've authored a book sponsored How to Get Brands to Pay for Your Next Event. Over the last 10 years, I've secured over $2 million in sponsorships for my company, Harlem's Fashion Row, and now I am teaching you how to do the same. You can get my new book on www.mysponsoredbook.com.
So anyway, when we do all of that, people don't really know who we are or understand the impact of what we do. If people ask you all the time what you do,
that's so true.
Which I found people asking me that a lot of times. They were like, "What exactly do you do?" And I was like,
"That's true." Okay, I'm gonna put Sybil.
I told you this about me,
girlfriends. I'm gonna put Sybil on blast.
She ain't blasting me because I told y'all from the top that this was about me.
You don't know what I'm gonna say.
Lord
you don't know what I'm gonna say.
All right.
So in Sybil's bio, if you guys will read, she has that she's. You guys should see her face right now. She is terrified of what I'm about to say.
Oh my gosh.
So in Sybil's bio, if you look at our podcast, she kind of talks about these brands she worked with, and then she goes, "But I don't want to name drop."
No, I'm not a name drop.
That's fine, but she never tells you what brand she's working with. As I happen to know, but she never. And so, Sybil, I'm gonna say that's shrinking.
It is shrinking.
I'm gonna say Sybil is shrinking.
I own the fact that it's shrinking. Absolutely, I own it. I've done it for years, and this is my coming out season. And you're gonna hear a lot more about what I've been doing over the years because I just didn't want to didn't want to seem like I was a team player. I wasn't saying, or I was taking credit for something that it took a team of people to do by saying, "Oh, I did X, Y, and Z, ABC." But there are some things that literally I did.
You did, and then we have to go to a networking event together. I'm literally selling Sybil like I'm her darn publicist or something. Cause she won't do it.
I won't do it. I just don't feel the need.
She will sit back like she don't know nothing. Like she's worked with some of the biggest brands in our country, in the world, by the way. So
I never feel the need,
ladies.
But anyway, look,
no, really?
We only have a few minutes left.
Well, you have okay. Well, Sybil, you got to give a story though.
Here's my story. I'll tell you straight up. For 10 years, this was. You know what? I want to say 10 years for a good. for the latter part of these 10 years, this was my story. I was working to help build a company, and I was working as a strategist and one of the lead strategists on a team. And I was working with someone who I adored and loved as a friend and a brother. But I understood where he had strengths and he had weaknesses and vice versa, and where we plugged into each other. He would take credit for my strengths. And so I wasn't bothered by it for a while, but it didn't become until later in this relationship where I was like, if you're taking credit for my strengths, people won't understand where my value is. And it's important that if you're in a room, people understand why you're there and know how you're going to add value. I felt as though my value was being minimized. I'm like, if you're taking credit for everything I'm doing, you're basically eliminating my abilities from the scenario. And I didn't like that. Mm-hmm. So I started to really kind of step into my my space more and really own it more. But I've shrunk for so long. And part of my reason for shrinking was because I wanted to make sure that he felt supported. I wanted to make sure that I was being a team player, one, because I knew, I was like, well, if I'm not going to play, if I'm not going to be a team player, I'm about to run this. Right. And there's a fine line that I run with that. So I had to make sure I fall back. And I knew how to get into the groove of things. I believe in team. But the other thing was I really wanted to make sure that he felt supported and equipped to succeed.
But here's the thing about that, because a lot of women are in that situation where you feel the need to shrink. Yeah. If you're in a situation where you feel the need to shrink, or like somebody is requiring you to shrink, that's just not a good environment.
Well, I'll say this. He wasn't requiring me to shrink, but I knew that if it were between me shrinking and him shrinking, if I didn't shrink, he wouldn't be strong enough. Okay. Meaning, like, if I were to fully walk in all Sybil, he wouldn't have had any power in the room. Okay. Because I knew that I was adding value to his value. Okay. That was part of my role. Get it? So I'm support to a CEO. Got it. So in doing that, I felt like it was my responsibility. It was not my responsibility. It's not I felt like it was.
It's never a responsibility.
I took it on.
Think about this. So many women and think about that scenario right there. So many women are shrinking in so many situations because they want to make sure that somebody else looks better.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
In their households, they're shrinking. With their girlfriends, they're shrinking. Yep. Because I've seen it where girlfriends have been around other friends they've had for years. Mm-hmm. And when those other girlfriends aren't excelling at the same rate, they feel like they have to shrink. Yeah. To just kind of fit in.
Or if you're new to a friend group. Yeah, if you're new, that you're the last girlfriend on the girlfriend chain. It's like, and they've traveled together, they've been hanging for years, and you're new, and you coming into the group, and they've already got a set style, way, rules. Everybody has roles. The last girlfriend tends to fall back. That's true. And some of that is wise to do to try to figure out how you fit in. Right. But the other part of it is that you're there for a reason, and you can't forsake that to try to make old friends feel comfortable.
Absolutely. And for me, I think the best group of girlfriends is when women are together and they love when you're living out loud. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thankful that I'm surrounded by a group of women that love that I live out loud. Yeah.
And they don't want you playing small ever.
I hate being in spaces. I am in spaces sometimes where I feel like I can't be fully Brandis because they don't get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And those spaces I hate being in those spaces. Yeah. I'm like, put me in these spaces the least amount of time possible because I have to be me.
Yeah. No, it's true. It is true. All right, girls. So we talked through some of those symptoms. So make the assessments and figure out if that's you. And now we're going to give you our 5, quick ways to stop shrinking. Okay. And I'll start with number 1. This helped me. Dive deeper into your mission. Don't hide your mission. You have to keep it in front of you. You have to share your mission with other people. You have to be vocal about what your purpose is so you can be held accountable to it. So I know my mission is to inspire people each day by the way that I live and to make sure that I'm preparing a legacy for my children. I tell everybody about that. Every day I live it out actionably by what I do as, with my job, what I do with friends, what I do with my kids, what I do with my husband. And I make sure that all of my friends know about it. And I try to live and breathe it so that when I'm not doing it, people can be accountable to me on my success and my failure and help me.
Some people like to keep things to themselves. They're like, I don't want to tell anybody because
they're scared of it.
Yep.
Because they're scared of it, point blank.
That's what it is.
Point blank. That was me. I know that. You can't do that either. Number 2.
And then set short-term and long-term goals that really kind of feed into your mission. I love this idea. I read this book, and it's called 6 Months to Six Figures. And what they talk about is reverse engineering. So you basically set a goal 6 months out, and then you kind of work backwards into how do you everything you do every day feed into that goal.
Nice.
So,
that's good.
So do that.
I love that. And I mean, you have to set goals that feed your faith and that draw you closer to that fulfillment of your mission. All right, number 3. This one is big, guys, because that's the thing that Brandis was talking about her friends. We believe that you need accountability partners, and I think you need 3 minimum, and they should have roles. Right? Your number 1?
You probably need one that's no nonsense.
You need somebody who's straight up looking you in the face, and they don't see you at right now. They see you at the person that you're supposed to be. So they don't let you make excuses. They don't understand when you say tomorrow. I'm secretly talking about Brandis. They might be pregnant. They might have short hair. They might be bossy, Brandis. But whatever they are, they're the no nonsense one, and they hold you accountable to what God has placed on the inside of you. Your number 2?
And then it's always good to have someone who's a nurturer.
Yes, that's your shoulder. Yeah. That's the one you can go to and you can breathe and be like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And they're like, I get it, but it's okay. I was scared before.
Absolutely.
A lot of times that nurturer has gone ahead of you in certain places.
Yes.
So they understand the stages you're in, and they can help walk you forward. A lot of times that person's done that. Or there might be someone who feels like they can't quite go to that next level, but they believe in you.
That's so true.
So the nurturer is making that investment.
That's so true.
And the last accountability partner is a practical one one that balances your needs for love, support, and results.
And that's hard too, because as a dreamer, and I'm a Pisces, those two together, like, it's tough for us to kind of partner or listen to people who are practical. I remember for years I would just be like, oh, they just don't get it.
And they look at you like, she is crazy.
Yes.
What's wrong with her?
Yes.
But
you need those people.
You need a practical person. You need that person when you say you about to leave your job and go pursue this wild dream that says, have you budgeted? Do you have 6 months worth of living? Don't be mad at that person. They are looking out for you. You need that practical person to be straight up.
I know you're crazy.
But you love that person, because you're going to have that person. Or the one that you say, I'm about to date this dude I met online, and this girl goes, did you ask him if he's married? Eesh. Like the one that asks you all the questions that you don't want to ask, but they are practical enough to be like, you got to be smart. Yeah. Be dreamy and smart. That's right?
True. Dreamy and smart.
Dreamy and smart.
That's a t-shirt.
All right, number 4.
You got to decide that your flaws are not significant enough to keep you from your goals. And quite honestly, what we think our flaws are actually that's the strength.
Always. Every single time.
A prime example is that I got braces to close my gap, which I still have a little gap now. I hate I closed my gap.
Wish you had it. Lauren Hutton's gap.
I need that gap.
Think about it.
Every time I think about it, I'm like, that gap would be like my trademark. When I see all these cute girls being illustrated by these illustration artists, I always think, now how people gonna illustrate me? If I had my gap, that would have been perfect.
Cindy Crawford and her mole.
Yes.
Lauren Hutton and her gap.
I'm telling you.
Like there's certain things that we can't stand that other people love about us, and we have to own it. Or it might be like you're a big personality, and your whole life your mama told you to shut up. Oh, but that big personality makes you Wendy Williams.
Girl, I got an intern. I got an intern right now. Oh, Lord.
With a huge personality.
One of my interns will not be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, she won't be quiet.
And you know what? At the right
But you
job
know what?
and in the right place.
Yeah, but that's her strength.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
absolutely her
One of
strength.
my favorite mentors is a massive man with a huge voice, huge personality, huge being, huge body. He's one of the world's leading motivational strategists and speakers. And all of those things that were inferior qualities growing up are now his strongest attributes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, number 5, you have to slow down and take your time so that you can focus and be intentional about your mission versus feeling rushed and pressured. And that just means don't feel like time is running out.
Time is not running out.
Time is not running out. You know, Brandis tried to really put a lot of pressure on me over the last 2 weeks, telling me that time was running out where a certain scenario was involved. And she was like, we've got to rush. And, you know, I just had this certain piece about the mission that we have. And I keep it in front of us.
Oh, quit it, Sybil. Let me tell you. Sybil wants to plan. So sometimes Sybil needs to be rushed. Right.
So you have to slow down and understand, like, time is not working against you. Time is working for you. It's a favor. It's an attribute that God has given us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So don't be rushed. Slow down. All right, ladies. So you've got our 5 tips. Check out the symptoms and know that if it's you. And if you have any questions, you can always hit us up.
Yeah, and what I'm gonna give them a challenge.
Love it.
Ladies, I want to give you a challenge. I'm going to give this week. I want you to be very cognizant of a situation where you're shrinking.
Yeah.
And when you feel like retreating in that situation, I want you to go overboard in being you.
Yeah. I mean, I would love that too. If they want to share it with us at our
Share it
email,
with us, yes.
thegreatgirlfriends@gmail.com. Tell us the place where you're shrinking and where you're going to be accountable to coming out of that shrinking so we can check in with you. I would love to do that.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks to all of our husbands. Y'all, I'm going to shout out my boo real quick. Kwaku Amudi.
Oh, my goodness.
He is the most amazing creative director. If you like any of our digital assets, our artwork, and our images that are coming out, that's all Kwaku.
That's all him.
He is so dope,
Wait
y'all.
a minute. We got to tell him you guys can find him at 113design.com.
Yes,
He's
113design.com.
incredible.
He is amazing. And Rich, the newest baby daddy in the bunch.
Thank you, baby daddy. But the other day he got upset with me about something and he said, I'm only your friend because you got my baby. I was like, really? I love it. He said, I'm not your friend. I'm friends with my baby. I said, all right, that's okay.
I love it. That is so cute. Rich is the most supportive man on the planet. And whenever I want to think of a time where I need to be patient, I really can call on Rich because I've seen his patience at another level.
He's so sweet.
Yes, and to our families, our great girlfriends.
Thank you so much for trusting us as your source for everything in life, love, and laughter.
Yes, remember to check us out on Instagram,
At The Great Girlfriends,
Facebook,
The Great Girlfriends,
Twitter,
at @the_great GFS.
and tell all of your friends to visit our website at www.thegreatgirlfriends.com. I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandis.
And we're signing off.
Visit our website, guys, our Facebook page, our Twitter, our Instagram. Post your questions, share with your friends. Keep listening and
And keep being a great girlfriend. Bye.